today we're gonna read The Magic Treehouse Merlin Mission Book 26 Bottle of the Blue Down. Yesterday's afternoon I did a lot of work, so I can't read all of them. So now let's start reading in chapter 4, Champion Mushers, and the end of reading in chapter 5, okay? And now, are you ready for this one book with a lot of stories? And now here we go. And first you can read is The Magic Treehouse Merlin Mission Book 26, Bottle of the Blue Down, started at chapter 4, Champion Mushers. Stay with me, boy, Uncle Joy called after Oki. But the man's voice was lost in the excited bark of the huskies in the yard. Excuse me, sir, Annie said. What if we go with him? Annie, said Jack, shaking his head. The man turned to look at Jack and Annie as if noticing them for the first time. Who are you? He said. Jack and Annie, said Annie. We are friends of Oki's. Annie, and we are champion mushers. Stay with me, boy, Uncle Joy called after Oki. What? thought Jack. Oki's uncle shouted. Champion mushers, how can that be? You are very young. We are young, said Annie, but we have great skills, right, Jack? She quickly added in a whisper, gold dust. All right, thought Jack. He nodded. We heard that lives were in danger here, said Annie, so we came from the United States to help. Help how? Said Oki's uncle. Take the team of sled dogs and help get a medicine here, said Annie. Right, Jack? Jack took a deep breath. He was a little nervous about losing their way to freeze to the death, but he nodded again. We really want to help you, Annie said to Oki's uncle. The man stared at them for a moment, his face lined with grief. I don't know what to do, he said. I lost my wife and 2 children 7 years ago in flu and Bectic. No, lost more than a dozen people then. I fear it is about to happen again. Tears stared down to a man's craggy voice. And Jack have stunned. More than a dozen people dead? That won't happen again, Jack bowed. Well, we'll do everything we can. Thank you, but please leave my nephew here, said Nan. Don't let him go. Oki and his mother and sister are all I have. Don't worry, don't let him go, said Jack. Take my team. They are good dogs, said Oki's uncle. I have to travel trail hundreds of times, delivering mail with me. We promise we'll take care of them, said Annie. Thank you. The man bowed his head. Thank you. Annie turned and hove into the crunch back into the room. And Annie took off a deep breath. This is a good plan, she said to Jack. Right? Right, he said. He hoped it was a great plan. He was terrible for Oki and his uncle. Good dust? Gold dust? Said Annie. Jack took off his mitten, and reached into his pocket and pulled out a tiny gold box. He pried over to a lid and stared at the glittering dust inside. It's so beautiful, breathed Annie. Jack poured a bit of a gold dust into the palm of his bare hand. We wish to be a champion dog mushers to save lives, he whispered. Then he tossed the dust into the air. The room filled with the spark of gold light. The light had glared around Jack and Annie that quickly faded away. Jack felt a rush of energy. Wow, said Annie, then quickly faded away. Oh yeah. Wow, said Annie, grinning. I'm ready to hit the trail. Are you? Yep, said Jack. Sure am, he laughed. Quick, before Okie leaps with the dogs, said Annie. She started for the door. Wait, said Jack. The magic worked for 12 hours. He looked at the clock in the wall. It was 8:30. We have to get back by 8:30 tomorrow morning. No later. Got it, said Annie. Then the two of them hurried get out to the shack into the freezing night, and huskies are whining and lipping around to the moonlit pen. Oak is trying to buckle them into the harness. Be still, he commanded. Be still. Wait, Okie, said Jack, resting with the dog. Okie looked up at Jack. Annie and I'll look for Gunner Cassin, said Jack. Your uncle wants us to take a team by ourselves. By yourselves, said Okie. Yes, said Jack. You have to stay here. He can't risk teasing you. But how will you do this, said Okie. You don't know the dogs or the trail. We have great skills, said Jack, and we trust dogs. Your uncle told us they'll travel by trails of hundreds of times. Yes, but, said Okie. Good. Then our job is just to help them do their job, said Annie. And your job, said Okie, is to stay with your uncle and by near your sister and mother, said Jack. And if you're out of the storm, your uncle will be sick with worry, said Annie. Your mother and sister would not want that. Okie stared out into the frozen sea for a moment, and he looked very troubled. I want to go with you, he said finally, but I'll stay here for the sake of my uncle. He held up a gate so open Jack and Annie could enter the dog pen. Come on, guys, Jack and Annie said to the huskies. Let's buckle up. He and Annie pulled out their mittens. Even in the dark, they have no trouble hitching to the dogs into their harness. Let's get rigging, said Okie. He grabbed a bundle of lights from the basket and slides into the beginning, untaining at them. Jack and Annie had finished putting a harness on the dogs. He looked at them to the team of the rigging. It's quickly, calmly attacking to the tug lines and harness, the fancy neck lines of two collars. Work with us, guys, Annie said as they tried to hitch the excited dogs to town line. A lead of a dog jumped up into lick Jack's face. Jack laughed. He knew not to scold the dogs and risk damping to the extreme. The team would need their high sprites to run through the race of an head. Soon all the huskies were strung into the town line up in pairs. The two lead dogs are proudly in the front of their toes high, and their noses are sniffing into the air. The bearers' bells on their collars jingled. The two swing ducks stood behind the lips. Two team ducks stood behind them, and then two wheel ducks stood directly out of the front sled. You guys are the best, said Jack. The duck is whining into the bark of an eager to go. You are both very good with the ducks, said Okie. Be firm, be fair, give kindness and respect, said Annie. That's how we always treat them. We promise. Thank you, said Okie. Jack and Annie put on their mittens. How far is Solomon? Said Jack. About 35 miles, said Okie. It's about 20 miles you pass to the roadhouse in the park. Safety. Maybe maybe 50 more, you'll come to the Roadhouse Solomon and you'll find out your gainer cousin. Any idea how long trip should take? Annie asked. About 5 hours to get there, said Okie. So around 10 to go and come back. Annie said to Jack, no problem, where does the trail start? Said Jack to Okie. Just beyond the yard, said the boy, where you see tracks into the snow. Got it, said Jack. He turned it to Annie. How about I drive first? You can sit in the basket and then you will switch. Okie dokie, said Annie. The dogs are still as she took her poison into the basket of a sled. She slid into the wooden slates and then held up aside to the railings. Jack kept stepping to the long runners that have entrance to the behind basket, and he had gripped into the two handles of the sled and bent into the knees that leaned forward. He was felt as he's given a dog sled all this time. I'll get a snow hook, said Okie. He picked up a metal hook armature of a sled to the snow. He pulled into the basket in front of Annie. Then he added a sack of a dried fish, dog food. He explained. Cool, said Annie. All set? Jack said. All set, said Annie. Okie, please tell your uncle we'll good care of this team. See you in the morning, said Jack. Good luck, said Okie. Line out, Jack called to the dogs, knowing to the right commands to use. Bells jiggling, the lead dogs drew team straight into the front of the pen. Hike! Jack shouted. All 8 huskies bounded forward and pulled the sled into the cold Alaskan night. Now Jack and Annie are going to take the medicine, and they're going 5 hours, so it's really long, but the uncle's teams will be going to be great huskies. So the huskies will be take them very safely and fastly. So it might be a great time. Now tomorrow I'll be getting you new stories. 2 days after now I'm gonna really read all of the stories. Okay? Now bye bye everybody and have a nice day. Bye!